Welcome. Welcome to relax and sleep well. So this is the next part 2 of my channel, and today I'll be reading to you a Chinese book which I will interpret also in English alongside so that you can also understand together. And this book is about how they can fly. So this is the Chinese character, 会飞的抱抱. So you can see a pig with outstretched arms and holding an envelope. She is looking really happy. So in conjunction with Valentine's Day, and whoever you want to express your love to, regardless of the type of relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a kinship, like between parents, with your spouse, with your kid, with your grandparents, with a friend, with a business colleagues, right, with your boss. Take this opportunity to be willing to express. Let's see where it goes. So we'll read this together and let's see what we can learn from this book. So this is a Chinese book. I will be reading the Chinese words in Mandarin and also sharing its interpretation in English, so that all of you, whether you understand English or Mandarin or Chinese, you will be able to enjoy this meaningful story as well. So do stay tuned all the way to the end. Enjoy relaxing and sleeping to this wonderful bedtime story. We shall now begin. 会飞的抱抱. This is the pig. She's very happy. You can see that she's holding an envelope. Her hands are outstretched. And here it says 动物邮政. It means the letterbox for animals. And the title, it means a hug that can fly. Okay, so what's the story about? So you can see that there are lots of postage stamps, and in these postage stamps are different types of animals doing different things. So you can see what kind of things the animals are doing. You know, many of them are doing things related to their day-to-day moments, like what they like to eat, like eating ice cream, like riding a wagon, doing drawing and painting, playing a ball, and we have playing an instrument, yeah, riding a bicycle. So basically all types of children's play. Do you do that too? Even as adults, we can have the inner child coming out to play and not feeling ashamed of that, actually, because play is a very human, innate thing, and we all deserve to have play to continue to foster our imagination and creativity. So here goes. This is an envelope, and this is the letter that a little piglet on the cover page that she writes her address to. So there she is. What's her name? We get to find out in a short while. So that's the mom, and that is the play toy, and we have our dear little piglet saying something. 奶奶的生日快到了，你想送她什么东西？妈妈问阿文。 阿文回答：一个好大的抱抱。他张开手臂，张得好大好大，让妈妈知道他的拥抱有多大。Okay, so what it means is Mom was asking her son, Piglet, his name is called Arwen, she was asking him what he wants to send to his grandma's as a present because the grandma's birthday is coming. And Arwen replied that he wants to give a very big hug, as big as his arm's length. So he demonstrated widening his arms, spreading out so big to let his mom know how big that hug has to be. Isn't that sweet of him? Do you hug your grandparents too? So we have a post office here, and in Chinese it's called Yu Qi. Okay, let's see what this page is about. 你要画一张拥抱奶奶的图吗？妈妈问。阿文说：不是，我要送她一个真正的抱抱。我要抱抱邮递员，再请他把这个抱抱送去给奶奶。他们拿了信，走到镇上的邮局。The mom asked, does he want to draw a picture to represent the hug? And Arwen said no, he wants to give a real hug. And he will do that by hugging the postman and then ask him to deliver this hug to his grandmother. So they carried his letter and they proceeded to the post office. This is the picture of the post office. So they were in the queue, and what it says here. 他们很快就排到了队伍前面。奥先生说：“下一位。” So, very quickly, they lined up in the queue and was the first there. And what the post manager, his name is called Mr. Owl, he said, "Next, please." Okay, let's see what happens next. And you can see in this picture that the mom is writing something on this letter, probably the address. And well, there's quite a bit of dialogue going on, so we will break down one by one, okay? I will start with this, then after that I will explain this one. So let's begin. 我要寄一个大大的抱抱给我奶奶，请您帮我寄出去好吗？阿文很有礼貌地问。我们通常不替人家寄抱抱，不过可以试试看。敖先生说。阿文的妈妈写下奶奶家的地址，交给敖先生。Now, so at front of Mr. Owl, when made his request, he said that he wants to send a very big hug to the grandma and ask him whether he can send it and deliver it. And of course, Mr. Owl said that they usually do not send real hugs, but then they can try it. And so the mom writes down the grandma's address on these envelopes and handed it over to Mr. Owl. 阿文走到柜台后面，张开手臂，张得好大好大， 给敖先生一个很大的拥抱。您把抱抱给邮递员的时候，就要像这个抱抱一样大哦，阿文说。So, Awen walked to behind the counter. He extended his arms, open until it was very big, and hug, and told him when he is going to deliver this hug, to transfer this hug to the postman so that the postman knows how big that hug would have to be. Okay, so this is the mom. This is Awen. You can see unreservedly hug, right? Have you given such a hug to anyone before? How does it feel like to be embraced in such big hugs? Let's see what happens. He's taking the envelope now. Oh, 我不会看到那位送信给你奶奶的邮递员，但是我会把信件交给波波小姐。她把信件分类后放到卡车上，再到大城市，然后信件就会搭飞机到全国各地。敖先生说。So, Mr. Ao, the manager, told him that he will not be able to see the postman who will be delivering that hug to the grandma, but he will give this letter and also the hug to the next person who will be helping to sort out the letters and sending it to the delivery van, who will then drive to the big city and transfer to the aeroplane that goes to the different parts of the world, and he will give that hug to the next in line. So you can see one letter delivered to another part of the world require a lot of people involved. Who is the next person who is in line? It looks like this lady, isn't it? They are sorting out the letters to where it's going to be sent to. Such categorization actually helps in the efficiency of the delivery process because they can sort it out according to the places, and then the vans or the cars involved will take the different letters depending on which region it is to the next destination. And let's see what Awen said. Awen 说：“那你就得抱抱波波小姐哦。”敖先生把信件带去给波波小姐。Okay, so after Mr. Ao had explained the process to little piglet Awen, Awen says that he has to not just deliver the letter, but to also transfer that real hug to Bo lady. Her name is Bo, so that she can understand what kind of hug to be delivered to the grandma. Okay, let's see what happened next. You can see she has picked up the letter and the manager is there. Okay, this is what he says. 敖先生有点不好意思地看着波波小姐，把信件和阿文奶奶家的地址交给他。敖先生红着脸，小声地说：“这就是那个抱抱。” So, he was a bit embarrassed. Okay, in this what he says is, he was a bit embarrassed as he looked at 波波小姐, as he looked at 波波, because he's about to deliver a real hug to her, to transfer it to the grandma. And of course, in the process, it doesn't just deliver a task, but there is a human relationship going on here. And to him, to hug and other stuff feels a little embarrassing. He explains that this is the letter to be delivered. Can you see he outstretched his hand? 敖先生张开手臂，张得好大好大，给波波小姐一个好大的拥抱。So, he outstretched his arms just like how Awen did for him and delivered the hug to her. And how did 波波小姐 feel? Well, there was no fear of rejection. Okay, so we can see 波波小姐笑眯眯地把信件分类，司机来取要送到大城市的信件。他提起最后一个重重的邮包时，波波小姐说：“小李，还有一件事，有人要寄一个拥抱给他奶奶，地址在这儿，这儿就是那个拥抱。” So, 波波 lady was very happy to receive the hug. She sorted out the letters. You can see how that hug made her day because she was so happy. And when the postman responsible to help to deliver those letters came, and his name was called Xiao Li. So when he was carrying the last bag of letters to put it into the van, 波波 came to him and explained that there is a special letter. And in this letter, there is someone who wanted to give a hug to his grandma. And the address is here, but here is that hug. 波波小姐张开手臂，张得好大好大，给小李一个很大的拥抱。So 拥抱 means hug, okay? 小李笑着说：“这种信件不常有呢。” So 波波小姐，波波 opened her arms wide, very wide, just like how Awen and how Mr. Ao did, and gave Xiao Li a huge hug. And how did he react? Well, he was smiling and said that this letter is not common. So you just imagine, okay, so the hug has been passed down and it became a little personal, meaning to say that it made their day as you pass the hugs over. 小李一路吹着口哨到城里，写下信件后，他查时间表，看着是谁负责开车送信去机场。表上写的是鲁明斯。小李在休息室找到小鲁，他正在吃点心。嗨，小鲁，我知道这听起来怪怪的，但是有人要寄一个拥抱给他奶奶，地址在这儿。小李说。So, 小李 as he walked, he whistled to the city. He put down all his letters and then he looked at the timetable. 时间表 means timetable. And he checked who is the one who will be responsible to deliver all these letters to the airport. And on it, written 鲁明斯, that's his name. And he found him in the resting area, eating his snacks. And He said to him, "This may sound a little weird, but as someone who wants to send a hug to the grandma, and this is the address." So what do you think he'll do next? 小李张开手臂，张得好大好大，给小鲁一个很大的拥抱。小鲁缩了一下，他不太习惯被拥抱，但是他愿意做好他的工作。So, 小鲁 is actually a hedgehog. When he actually meets so-called what he deems as danger, he will tend to curl up, right, and shrink. Well, some people will also do the same if they're not used to it. So that's what happened. So when Xiao Li gave him a huge hug, Xiao Lu shrank for a while because he was not used to it. But then he said he agreed that he must do his job well. So he received a hug and promised to continue to deliver it. Okay? So you can see how one hug, one that is wholesome, one that is wholehearted, can change the perception of others. Either out of responsibility, like this hedgehog, or it could be out of appreciation. 那天下午，小鲁到了机场，他问送信的人什么时候会搬信件到飞机上。那笔信几分钟前就被搬到飞机上了，送信的人说。小鲁连忙跑到飞机旁边，机长江林正准备要上飞机。机长，有个小孩要寄一个拥抱给他奶奶，地址在这儿，这是拥抱。小鲁扮了一个鬼脸，笑着说 Okay, so what happens? That afternoon, when Xiao Lu got to the airport, he asked how he's going to load the letters onto the aeroplane. And someone told him that a few minutes ago, it has already been loaded onto the plane, meaning it was about to leave. So Xiao Lu ran to the aeroplane and he met the pilot. His name is called Jiang Ling, who is about to board the plane, and told him, oh, there is a kid who wanted to deliver a hug to the grandma. And here is the hug, and here is the letter. So he made a face and smiled. Okay, you can see the difference in size, but the hug is still being delivered. Out of responsibility for him, right? So how beautiful people can be, that they are willing to deliver to their best, even if they are not comfortable at times. But that's how open it can be, isn't it? Okay, so what did the postman do or say? 小鲁张开手臂，张得好大好大，给江陵机长一个很大的拥抱。用这样的方式当做一天的开始，很棒哦！江陵机长大声说。So when Xiao Lu opened his arms wide and opened it so wide, as you can see, 张得好大好大 means open it very wide, and gave Jiang Ling, the pilot, the big hug, the pilot said to him, it's a very good start for the day with the hug. So you can see he welcomed it and he was happy to receive it. So sometimes, even if you're embarrassed or not comfortable, someone else, when you try it out, someone else may be happy to receive it. So it's about not fearing to do something different, isn't it? 飞机降落后， 江陵机长走到机场的邮局。So when the aeroplane has landed, so he's not the pilot, so he's the one who will be carrying those letters over to the postman, the post office. And he saw someone, right? Okay, let's see what it says. 他看见小曼站在邮车旁，看起来很不开心。你好，是你要开邮车去城里吗？江陵机长问。小曼闷闷不乐地点点头。有人寄了一个拥抱，江陵机长宣布。So as he walked over, with his letters, and he's about to pass it over to her. Her name is called Xiaoman. So he noticed that Xiaoman looked quite bothered and upset. 看起来很不开心. That means not very happy. And he said, Hi, are you the one who will be driving this van to the city? And of course she nodded her head, and he told her there's someone who wants to deliver a hug. Now, I have a question for you. Do you think he will give a hug to her knowing that she's not in a good mood? That because when someone is not in a good mood, they might react negatively, right? So do you think he will still give the hug? Think about it. 江陵机长张开手臂，张得好大好大，给小曼一个很大的拥抱。小曼开心地笑了，说：“谢谢。” So he not only gave her a hug, but he opened his arms wide, very wide, just like how he has received it, and he gave her a huge hug. And she became happy. 开心地笑了 means very happy and smiled. And she said, 谢谢. You know what 谢谢 means? Thank you. If you guess it right. So you can see, if you don't try, you never know. You can make someone's day. And she looks happy now. 她一边开车，一边跟着音乐轻松地点着头。放下信件后，小曼去找阿德，他负责开车送信到奶奶住的城上。Okay, so as she was driving, she played music and she flowed with the music in a very relaxed manner as she nodded her head. And once she put down all the letters, she went to look for the next person who will be delivering the letter straight to the grandma's town. And his name is Arthur. Okay, so Arthur is the one delivering, who will be driving the truck to where Nai Nai, which is Arwen's grandmother, will be staying. Oh, and look at that, there is a heart there. 阿德，有人寄了一个拥抱，地址在这儿，还有这是拥抱。小曼说着，脸就红了起来。小曼张开手臂，张得好大好大，给阿德一个很大的拥抱。阿德咯咯笑着说：“呵呵，终于等到机会了。今天晚上想不想去跳舞？”“好啊。”小曼说。Okay, so 小曼 is this lady, the stork, and Arthur is this fox, and she told him that there's someone who wants to deliver a hug, and the address is written here, and she demonstrated how the hug should be delivered. Widen her arms and gave the hug, and as she does so, her face grew very red. And then Arthur responded and said, I finally have the chance, and asked her out and said, tonight, would you like to go for a dance? And what did Xiaoman say? She said, okay. You see how it can support, right, another colleague and create opportunities for a deepening of a relationship. So that is him who is driving the truck to the city where the grandma lives. And what did he say? 阿德手舞足蹈地跳上油车。第二天一早，阿德就开着油车到奶奶住的镇上。So Arthur was really very happy. He was dancing as he hopped into the truck. And the next day, early in the morning, he drove the truck to the city where Arwen's grandmother lived. Okay, that hasn't reached her yet. There's still another station. 当他准备回镇里时，他想起那个拥抱。今天是谁负责送信到平沙镇？阿德问局长。是丽丽，但是她现在还没到。格林堡女士夫妇眼镜回答。Okay, so when he was about to leave, then he remembered there was this hug that was not delivered. So he took the letter and he asked the lady who was at the post office who is responsible for delivering the letter to this place called Pingsha Zheng. And she said it is Lily. But she has not arrived, and she was actually putting her spectacles back in place as she said so. 阿德说：“麻烦你把这个传给他。”阿德张开手臂，张得好大好大，给格林堡女士一个很大的拥抱。格林堡女士很惊讶，她喘着气，眼睛歪到了一边。Okay, so for him, he was quite spontaneous. He said, "Please, pardon me, but please deliver this hug to her." And he opened his arms wide and opened it very wide and gave Mrs. Guolinbao a huge hug. And because the hug was huge, she was trying to catch her breath, and her spectacles got a bit slanted to the side. 眼镜 means spectacles. 喘着气 means almost out of breath. Okay. Let's see what happens next. Who is Lily? Here is Lily. Lily, 我跟你说一下。丽丽刚到，格林堡女士就叫住了她。So Lily, when she just arrived, she took all the letters and she was about to go when 格林堡女士 Mrs. 格林堡 she called her and explained this letter to her. Can you see? She's about to deliver the hug. 有个男孩要寄一个拥抱给他奶奶，你就是负责送去的邮递员。格林堡女士说。格林堡女士张开手臂，张得好大好大， 给丽丽一个很大的拥抱。So she explained there was a small boy who wants to deliver a hug to his grandmother, and that she is the one responsible to deliver this hug. So she demonstrated how that hug is to be like, opened her arms wide until it's very big, and gave her a huge hug. Wow, what is her reaction and what will happen next? Let's have a look. 奶奶一定会很高兴，丽丽说。丽丽一边挨家挨户去送信，一边闻着每一家的花香。她看到奶奶在院子里浇花。陆太太，我有一个特别的信件要给您。您的孙子要送您一个抱抱，她说。So she said when she received a hug that Grandma would be very happy. And she walked from door to door to give and deliver the letters. And as she does so, she breathed in the fragrance of all the flowers. And then she saw Grandma in her garden, watering the plants, and she told her that her grandson wanted to deliver a special letter, and the letter is want to give her a hug. So that is the hug. Look at that. 丽丽张开手臂，张得好大好大，给奶奶一个很大的拥抱。So Lily opened her arms, opened it very wide, and gave the grandma a big hug. What do you think the grandma will do? As the grandma has received this wonderful hug from the grandson? Can you make the guess? Type it into the comments below if you know the answer. Ready? Okay, here's the last page. It says 陆太太. That means Mrs. Lu. The post box is like that. Ah, look at that. She delivered a kiss. 奶奶笑着说，这真是我收到过做的最棒的信了。你也帮我送一个吻给我的孙子吧。奶奶嘟起嘴唇，在丽丽的脸颊上亲了一个又大又香的吻。Okay, what it means is this. Nai, the grandmother, smiled and said, "This is the best gift I have received. Please help me to deliver a kiss to my grandson." 帮 means help. 送一个吻 that means to deliver a kiss. 我的孙子 means my grandson. And when you say 嘟起嘴唇 means put the mouth in a pouting position. And 在脸颊上 that means on the cheeks. Gave a big kiss. 又大又香的吻 A big sweet kiss. That's what it means. Now, question. Do you think the postman and everyone involved in delivering, from the ones who drive the aeroplane, who drive the trucks, who sort out the letters at the post office, who helps to schedule who the postmen are, and do you think all of them would mind this kiss? Because, you know, between people, sometimes it can be a little embarrassing, right? Especially if you're not used to it and coming from a family that does not express this much, worrying how it might be perceived or how it might be judged, or even whether these kisses can feel strange. But if you happen to be in a culture where people are open to give just a pure kiss out of love on the cheeks, I know some cultures they do that. Okay, it's part of the greetings, and as for the grandma, it's part of expressing her love to the grandson. Okay, let's see what happens. Do you think they will deliver the kiss? Make a guess. Okay, let's see what happens. Look at that. He received the kiss from the grandma right on his cheeks, and he must be very proud and happy that it warms the heart. So the author has a word. She says love has a very influential influence. It says 爱的接力棒 means 爱 means love, and its power to give and receive and to spread is very strong. So it is real, based on her own childhood story, and she often play around the post office area, and she was very inspired to write this because it has affected her in her days and given her so much joy to receive letters. Alright, so hopefully that this book will inspire all of you to think of love in many different ways, that it is safe, that it can be very pure, that it can create a culture that is warm at the hearts as they deliver letters that are almost special to the others. Of course, nowadays you don't have to do that. You can do it through WhatsApp, right? Or maybe even emails or videos, or even like social media, reels, and so on. So there are many ways now, so we're very fortunate. But the age-old way, where they deliver traditionally through the sense of touch, is something that it can be very healing for those who seldom receive such love. So think about it, and may it inspire your day as you celebrate Valentine's Day. And I hope that this book brings you lots of joy as you're reading this with me. Thank you for staying with me to the end. It's a beautiful book, isn't it? And I hope that you enjoyed the story as much as me. Question: what are some of the takeaways that you have picked up from this book? For me, I felt that there is a very interesting thing about ripple effects. Where Awen, this pig, she wanted to use a very creative way to send her hug to her grandma across to another place, and she wanted to send it. So along the way, she used the gesture, and she sent it across, not just with the traditional way the traditional way of sending by postage. Of course, nowadays we do so using just a text, right? And we can send e-hugs. But sometimes when you want to feel or to develop a more sincere connection with someone, we tend to write or to pen it down and to send something physical. So that's what she did, right? She actually used an envelope and sent it. But she wanted to send a real hug where the person can feel, her grandma can feel it. And because she's so far away from her grandma, she used a very creative method, which is simply spreading in the process the hug by physically hugging the person at the post office, and the person at the post office sent it to the next person. So basically along the chain itself, and along the way, as each of the people who is helping to deliver these hugs, to deliver letters, experience hugs between each other. And as you can see, in one of the relationships, one of them took an opportunity that he never knew that he would be able to have the courage to tell the lady that he likes to go out on a date with him. So you can see how spreading positivity or kindness of some sort, or spreading love to another person, can create the deepest feelings with another person, can create a better experiences for each person, and eventually the entire community of people who is supporting this message starts to resonate and to act and to behave like this. For example, if I'm going to spread kindness, I send my kindness, I share my kindness with this person next to me, or I share my kindness with the person who has given me a drink, for example, right? So then the person will spread, because it felt good, he'll spread the same kindness, and remember the need to spread the kindness, or feeling like you want to spread the kindness because they're happy about receiving that kindness, spread to another person. So it's a form of giving and receiving. So this giving and receiving is like a chain reaction which moves on from one person A, and it goes on to B, C, D, E, F, G, and all the way to H, and goes on all the time. So it's a ripple effect, and it just takes one person to believe in it, to wholeheartedly do it, in order for this to spread. You know, just like virus, but virus do not really have a positive effect in terms of the immediate effect, but this is a spread of emotions. When you spread positive emotions, or just like you spread negative emotions, it can actually have a contagious effect. So that's what I'm trying to say. So think about it. How would you want to express your deepest feelings? It's not easy, because it takes a lot of vulnerability and courage. It becomes more vulnerable and it takes a lot of courage. And to be at ease with the fear of being rejected, the fear of being hurt. What if the person doesn't like me? What if the person does not respond positively to me? What if the person does not reciprocate me? But the key is this: because you believe in it, you have given yourself this opportunity to express it, and that is always needed. Just imagine that you only have today to live. What is the best thing you would do then? Not have any regrets, isn't it? So be courageous and express the love that you have. Alright, so with this little one, imagine that I'm actually an angel. I wish that all of you will be able to experience the deepest form of love for yourself, and to be able to spread that to the ones whom you love most and the people whom you care for. Happy Valentine's Day. Thank you for being part of my listening and for being with me.